But I'm wondering if you want me to say anything to the jurors about that and just let them know that
Judge, you can let them know.
they can't do it.
That's fine, Judge Sharma.
No objection, but if the defense doesn't have an objection to them asking questions, I guess the state would neither.
Well, they're not saying they don't have objections, they have no objections to me telling them they can't ask questions.
I understand, but I'm just also raising that issue.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my understanding is that at least one or more of you have been asking Mrs. Winnie about whether or not you can ask questions of the witnesses. And, it's actually an interesting idea, and it's something that has been considered. But, and in civil cases, if you have any experience as being a juror in a civil case, we do permit jurors to ask questions in civil cases, but the law does not allow us to do that. One of the things that I always thought has been interesting, though, is that when we do this in civil cases and we give we give a special instruction to jurors about question asking. And one of the things that it does say in that instruction is, this applies to a case where we're allowing the question. It says, there are some questions I will not ask or I will not ask in the wording submitted by the juror. This might happen either due to the rules of evidence or other legal reasons, or because the question is expected to be answered later in the case. You all know this is expected to be a fairly long case, so it's entirely possible that the questions you have is going to be answered, in fact, by somebody else before we're done here. Let's hope that that's the case. I have found in my own experience, not that this much matters though, that it's sometimes that when we've had jurors ask questions in civil cases, that they ask a question where all the lawyers in the room kind of look at each other and go, why didn't we think of that question? Sometimes they're too close to a situation to sometimes ask sometimes the most obvious and pertinent of questions. But there you have it. You're not going to be allowed to ask questions during the course of this trial. So sorry about that. Maybe one day the rules will change about all that. Until then, here we go. Okay, so Ms. Mikalova, you're next witness.
Your Honor, the state calls Mr. Keon Lowry.
Yes, sir. Please come forward to right about here. Right over here. There you go. Yeah, right about there. There you go. And raise your right hand to be sworn. Solemnly swear or affirm that your testimony in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you very much, sir. Have a seat right here. Please state your name and please spell your name.
Keon Lowry, Keyon Lowry.
Mr. Calavo.
Good morning, Mr. Lowry.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Thank you. How are you feeling about testifying today?
Good.
Have you ever testified in court before?
No.
It's important that you answer the questions with yes or no versus just nodding or shaking your head, because there's a court reporter here and she's taking down everything that's being said.
Okay.
And I will try not to speak over you, and I'll try and wait until you answer you finish your answers before I ask the next question. And I just ask that you do the same with me. That way we're not talking over each other and she would get everything down that's said.
Okay.
If you have any questions at all about anything that's asked by myself or any of defense counsel that just doesn't make sense, or you didn't catch what was being asked, please let us know, and all of us will restate it or rephrase it in a different way.
Okay.
And Mr. Lowry, how old are you? Sorry. How old are you?
26.
And can you tell me how old you were back in March of 2020?
23, 24.
Are you currently employed?
Yes.
And I don't need to know where you're working, but what type of work do you do?
I work in the deli.
How long have you worked at the deli?
3 years.
Were you working there back in March of 2020?
I started at the end of March, so.
And have you done similar work in the past?
No.
What type of other work have you done in the past?
I was doing a lot of warehousing.
Warehousing?
Yes, sorry. I apologize. Oops.
Mr. Lowry, do you have any children?
Yes,
How many kids do you have?
2.
And what are their names and ages?
Kaylia, who is 8, almost 9, and Kayleanne, who is 6.
And who is the mother of your 2 daughters?
Her name is Sarah McDowell.
And are you currently in a relationship with Miss McDowell?
No.
How long were the 2 of you in a relationship approximately?
11 years.
And do you still co-parent together now?
Yes.
Back in March of 2020, were the 2 of you in a relationship?
No.
Were you co-parenting then?
Yes.
how old were your two daughters back in March of 2020?
Kaylee would have been 6 already, and 3.
And I want to ask you some questions about March 3rd of 2020. I'll take you back to that evening. Who were you living with at that time?
Their name was Zenas and Holly.
And is Zenas spelled Zenus?
Yes.
And what was the relationship of Zenas and Holly to you?
It started out as neighbors, and my mom and dad were splitting apart, and I just, went over to the neighbor's house, and they just accepted me in to live there, and just, yeah.
Were Sarah and your two daughters living there with you?
Yes.
And did something occur, and I don't need you to get into the details of it, but did something occur the night of March 3rd of 2020 that caused you and Sarah and your daughters to go to reside someplace else for the night, or to sleep over someplace else for the night?
Yes.
And where were you planning to sleep that night?
At her sister's house.
And although I don't want to get into the details of what happened, were you leaving Holly and Zenus's house at their request?
Yes.
And approximately how far from Holly and Zenus's house did Sarah's sister live? About how many minutes, do you know, of drive?
Like 15 minutes.
And what's Sarah's sister's name?
Sadie.
When you left Holly and Zenus's house to go to Sadie's house, how many vehicles were you in?
Split between 2.
And who was in the car with you?
Me and my daughters.
Where were they seated in the car?
And their car seats in the back.
And who was in the car, if anyone, with Sarah? Was anyone in the car with Sarah?
No.
And do you recall what you were driving then?
The 2019 Kia Optima.
Is that just like a sedan? Is it?
Yes.
Okay. And what was Sarah driving at the time?
A 2005 Cadillac, I think.
Who was leading the drive to Sadie's house?
Sarah.
Did you follow her the entire way to Sadie's house?
Yes.
Do you recall the route that you took from Sadie, or to Sadie's from Holly's house? Do you recall what streets you took in order to get to Sadie's?
Yes.
And can you tell the jury, in general, what streets you took?
I ended up taking a left on Portland Ave, which we were located on Wright Street, and down Portland Ave, taking a left, and we drove up to 38th, and took a right up 38th Street, and then took a left down Pacific, and drove all the way down Pacific there's the 7-Eleven, forgetting the street name.
Is that Ainsworth or 96?
The 96th Street. Yeah.
And so what direction did you turn on 96 from Pacific?
Right.
And when you made a right onto 96 from Pacific, was Sarah still leaving at that time?
Yes.
I want to show for you State's Exhibit 151. Sorry, I've been admitted, Your Honor, I believe.
I'm sorry, you said 151?
Actually, it doesn't have the stamp on it.
I don't have it listed.
motion to approve, Your Honor.
Sure.
Mr. Lowry, I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 151. And have you seen that overview before?
Yes.
And does it look familiar to you?
Yes.
Can you tell us what it is? What it shows?
The street of 96th.
And does that also include,
Continue.
does it also include the cross street of Ainsworth?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Your Honor, the state offers into evidence Exhibit 151.
151 is admitted.
Permission to publish.
Proceed.
And Mr. Lowry, we have it up on the screen there for you, and we also have a screen over here for the courtroom and the jurors to see. And is that the overall view of 96 and Ainsworth?
The vertical right here for me.
And I'm going to have you step up over here, if you don't mind. And can you point out the 96th Street? And I would just note for the record that he's pointed out the street that runs horizontal on the exhibit. And is that the street that you were on that night?
Yes.
And I'm actually going to have you stay up there just for a minute, Mr. Lowry. Are you able to point out in general where your vehicle was at the time that you pulled up to that intersection? And I'm going to have you, if we can have that marked with the circle approximately where, thank you. And we'll save that as 151A. Screenshot of it. Thank you. You can go ahead and have a seat, Mr. Lowry. When you pulled up at that intersection, what did you see when you first pulled up?
When I first pulled up at the intersection, the light was red, and I saw a patrol car sitting at the red light, and Sarah, who was in front of me, the black Cadillac, come around the corner, I come around the corner, the light's red, and it turns green, and the patrol vehicle does not move.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Mr.
Light turned green. I'll let him finish that thought. Go ahead. If you're done, that's fine.
Okay, yeah, done.
So, Mr. Lowry, when you said that you pulled up to the traffic light, and when you pulled up, it was red at the time that you pulled up, and you saw the patrol vehicle. Did you notice any lights on besides the headlights? Any emergency lights on the patrol vehicle at that time?
No.
Did you make any? Were you able to see where the passenger and driver were at from the patrol vehicle
At that moment?
when you first pulled up?
No, I couldn't determine if there was one or two inside the vehicle when I first pulled up.
And when you first pulled up, did you actually come to a complete stop at the red light?
Yes.
And once you were sitting at the red light, were you able to make any determination about who was in the vehicle?
No.
So, did you see anyone outside of the patrol vehicle when the light was red?
No.
Do you see anyone standing next to the patrol?
You said no emergency lights were on. You said no light was red, because I'm understanding the traffic light was red.
The traffic light is what I was referencing. I apologize.
But you said no when no light was red.
When the light was red. I may have misspoke.
Okay, maybe I misunderstood it. Maybe it's not.
I'll
Maybe it's
I'll
not.
ask it again and make sure I'm
Sorry,
clear.
sorry about that.
Thank you. Mr. Lowry, when you pulled up and you came to a stop at the red light, did you see anyone outside of the patrol vehicle at that time?
No.
And when you came up to the red light and you stopped, did you see anyone in the intersection at that time?
No.
And you said earlier, you testified earlier that the light turned green.
Yes.
And what happened, what did you see happen when the light turned green?
That there was no movement of the vehicles, with the patrol vehicle being in front of us, we weren't able to move, so we were just sitting there.
Do you know approximately how long you were sitting there?
15, 20 seconds.
And at any time, did you see anyone in the area that wasn't in a vehicle?
After that 15, 20 seconds, yes.
What did you see?
On my right, on my right, can I show possibly?
Absolutely. Can we publish Exhibit 151 again, please?
So me being right about here, and the light being here, and the patrol car, Sarah's car, and me, about after that 15 seconds, and it being green, I see someone walking, trying to, up this side right here, coming across this.
And just for the record, Keon, when you're pointing those things out, I'm going to put it on the record what you're pointing to, and that's about the middle of Exhibit 151, and you can see what appears to be like a crosswalk that goes into, that's right outside of a street somewhat that goes into housing areas. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And was the person walking towards you?
Yeah, up this way.
What did you notice about the person when they were walking towards you?
Nothing out of the ordinary. Just thought it was a person walking on the sidewalk.
They appear to be walking quickly or just regular pace?
Just taking a stroll.
And did you continue to watch that person?
After my first catching under my eye, no, I did not.
When did you next see the person?
When it looked like his attention got caught and he started walking towards the patrol car.
Can you describe for us what you saw?
It looked as if they knew.
See if you have an objective response.
He seems to be imputing somebody else's motives. You should try to, Ms. Lauer, you should try to describe what you saw rather than what you think somebody else was thinking.
I can ask in a different way, Your Honor, too. When you saw the individual walking over to the patrol car, did you see anything any motion to call him over?
No, I didn't see any motion to call him over.
Did you hear anything to call him over?
No, I did not.
And when you saw him walking over to the patrol car, did you see any motion by the individual that was walking regarding the movement of his head or anything like that?
Can you repeat that?
At any point, did the person look over to the patrol car?
Yes.
And when he looked over to the patrol car, did he walk up to it?
He started to proceed to walk, yes.
And what did you observe after you walked up to the car?
He got
And if you need to step down to show the camera,
Okay.
that's perfectly fine.
patrol car being here
Okay, and so the patrol car is in the regular lane.
in the regular lane in the front, and he's walking across. I can see him about here.
Right in front of the house that's kind of to the right of the
a square, he walks down like this, it more or less like it's an angle to the patrol vehicle.
So he angled in to walk up to the car.
Yeah.
And at that time, did you see if anybody was out of the patrol car besides the individual that was walking up?
No, there was no one on the patrol vehicle.
And did you at some point come to learn the name of the person that was walking up to the car?
Can you explain what you mean?
That night, did you know the male that you saw that was walking?
No, I did not.
And at some point after this night, did you find out what his name is?
Yeah.
You may answer the question.
Can you ask it again?
At some point after that night, did you find out what his name was?
Yes.
And what was his name?
Manuel Ellis.
So you saw Mr. Ellis walk at a diagonal towards the patrol car, and then what happens after that?
Before he's completely arm length and fully facing the patrol car, the passenger patrol door opens up and hits Manuel Ellis.
And Mr. Lowry, when you say that he wasn't within arm's length of the patrol car, were you able to see that from your car?
Yes.
Were you able to see if Mr. Ellis had anything in his hands at the time?
No.
And Mr. Lowry, when you saw him walk up to the patrol car and the car door open to strike him, did you see him stand there for a few seconds before the patrol car door hit him?
No.
What way was he facing when the patrol car door hit him? And if it would be easier for you to demonstrate to the jury how he was standing with the patrol car, that's fine too.
More on his right hip, as if I can't. Trying to explain. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Which I'm expecting to be a great artist.
Oh.
And Mr. Lowry, if you could just draw, and like I said, we don't expect you to be a great artist. I am going to ask you to do it a little bit big to make sure that everybody can see it. If you can just draw a patrol car, just make a square for the patrol car, and then maybe we'll get a different thing. Why don't you put your car name in Sarah's car?
So this is the short card.
And Mr. Lowry, just because we moved you from that mic and she's trying to take everything down, if you could just talk loud enough and
Okay.
just stay on the other side so that you can see.
Okay. Could you turn on the mic?
It is on, it's always red when it's on.
Oh, okay. So this is the patrol car right here, and this would be the direction that Manuel Ellis would be walking down.
Why don't to arrow the direction he's walking, that'd be great, thank you. And then just put a
Lights here.
light, oh, the
Like
street
the
lights,
street
the
light,
traffic
yeah.
light, okay. And then can you put a P for the first car, just for control? Thanks.
He's walking. Then it turns to this.
And just for the record, the dash lines is
That's
in
him
walking.
walking. Yeah. So the patrol door, he's coming about here. It's a swing of a door and hits him as he's coming towards the patrol car.
And you have it swinging this way?
Outwards.
Yeah, okay.
Outwards. Oh, sorry, yeah.
That's okay, it's just
Apologize.
I wanna make sure that it's swinging outwards towards him versus
Yeah.
the direction we did. Okay. And if you can write your name here and the date, which is the 10th of October.
October. Sorry,
It's okay.
I'm the worst artist.
That's great. And just, when are you when it works, can I get a take for that piece?
Terrible drawing. I'm embarrassed. Draw like a 5-year-old.
Your Honor, what's the state opposite?
I'm sorry.
She's offering this to do for us for purposes of feasibility.
What is it?
Plaintiff series 7.
Sure. That works.
37?
Any objection for your seven, your information purposes?
Hang on.
Your seven is submitted for illustrative purposes.
Mr. Lowry, when you saw the patrol car door swing open and hit Mr. Ellis, how did Mr. Ellis react?
I hit in the ground.
And were you able to see that happen?
Yes.
And prior to him being hit by the patrol car door, did you see anything that was aggressive or threatening that you witnessed by Mr. Ellis?
No.
And once he was knocked down to the ground, what happened?
Instantly saw the passenger police officer get out, and when he got out, the patrol vehicle's lights flashed yellow, and then flashed red, and then the driver got out.
Was that the first point that you realized there was both a passenger and a driver in this car?
Yes.
And that was the first time that you saw them actually both get out of the car?
Yes.
What happened, what did the passenger of the car do when he got out after striking Mr. Ellis with the door?
Instantly looked to restrain him, and got on top of him.
Were you able to make any, were you able to differentiate, or let me rephrase that. What was the body type of the passenger driver? What was his build?
I'm not too sure. I know he's shorter than the driver.
Okay,
He's shorter than the driver that came out.
so the passenger of the patrol vehicle was shorter than the driver that came out of the driver's side.
Yes.
And you said that the passenger got on top of Mr.
just on top of him.
What did the passenger do after he got on top of Mr. Ellis?
I saw swinging,
I'm sorry?
swinging of a fist. The passenger just all in the time as the driver was still coming around the patrol vehicle.
So you saw the passenger swing his fist when the driver was still coming around the patrol vehicle?
Yes.
And when you saw the passenger swinging his fist, who was he swinging his fist at?
Manuel Ellis.
And what did you see Mr. Ellis doing at that time?
Not struggling.
Did you see Mr. Ellis at any time strike back at the officer?
No, I didn't.
Did you at any time see him try and kick the officer?
No, I didn't.
And did you at any time see him try and rush, like run at the officer?
No.
At any time did you see Mr. Ellis try and pick up the officer?
No.
And after you see the passenger of the patrol vehicle swinging at Mr. Ellis, do you know how many times you saw him swing at Mr. Ellis?
2 to 3.
And what was the driver of the vehicle doing at that time?
He was just flipped the lights on from the yellow to the normal blue red that you would see, and he getting out, he closed his door and then circled around the front of the patrol vehicle and then came to help.
And when you say he came around the front of the patrol vehicle, do you know what he did after that?
He went to help restrain him.
And how did he go to restrain?
He was on his feet side, his legs. He was on his legs.
And is this all happening when you're still parked behind the patrol car?
Yes.
At any time when you're parked behind the patrol car, you get out of your car?
Yes, I do.
What made you get out?
I felt I needed to help him.
Who did you meet?
Manuel Ellis.
Why did you feel like you needed to help him?
Because the activity I was seeing wasn't something I've seen cops do, even if someone is being in any kind of way.
Can you tell us what you mean by the activity that you were receiving?
Punching, the hitting of the door, the aggressiveness when there was no aggression. Yeah.
You say no aggression. Who are you?
Manuel.
Manuel wasn't displaying any aggression at the time.
No.
At any time, you said that the driver came around and was towards the feet of Mr. Ellis. Where was Mr. Ellis at that time?
Off the sidewalk or where the...
And if you want to step up and point out to the jury approximately where Mr. Ellis was. Okay, so in the area, what would be kind of like the bike lane?
Yeah, right up where the curb is, for the,
And was that partially in front of or just next to the patrol vehicle?
Quite a little ways from when he got hit by the door.
So I moved closer to the stop line when you got after you got hit by the door.
Yes.
And when the driver of the patrol vehicle came back around and Mr. Ellis was in the location testified about by the bike lane, how was he? Was he standing? Was he sitting? Was he on the ground? How was he positioned?
When the driver officer came out of the car,
Yes. How was Mr. Ellis positioned when the driver officer came around the car?
on his back, on his side, and laying on the ground.
Not laying on the ground, or was on?
On the ground.
And where was the patrol vehicle passenger when Mr. Ellis was on the ground? When you initially saw, when you first saw that?
When I first saw him on the ground, after getting hit by the door, the passenger was getting out the vehicle to get on top of him.
At any time did you see the driver of the vehicle strike Mr. Ellis?
No.
And you said that he got on Mr. Ellis's feet. Can you tell us about that?
More or less holding him by his ankles, calves area, or putting his leg, or his weight to that side of Manuel Ellis' body.
Is that still happening when you were parked behind the Sarah and the patrol vehicle?
Yes. Even after I got out the car and, yeah.
You said that you got out of the car because you thought you needed help, Mr. Ellis. What, if anything, what did you do when you got out of the car?
I just yelled that they're in the wrong, that they know they're in the wrong.
Did you yell that at?
The officers.
Did they acknowledge you or look at you at all at that point?
No.
And why did you yell that?
Because they were in the wrong. Alright.
What happened after you yelled at him?
Sarah told me to get back in the car because she didn't want anything to happen to me, and also I had my daughters in the car.
And Mr. Lowry, why did you get out of the car in that situation when you got your daughters in the back seat and they're so young? Why did you get out of the car when, at that time when you had your daughters in the back seat and they're so young?
I'll permit this, let me answer.
Because I just instantly thought to help. I don't know. I can't give you a specific. I just did.
And when Sarah told you to get back in the car, how did you react?
That's the smart decision. That I do have my daughters, and I don't want anything to happen to me. So a lot of stuff just came to me when she got my attention.
Is there anything else that came to you that you haven't told us about?
Not that I can think of right now.
So you get back in your car after Sarah tells you to get in the car?
Yes.
And are you able to see anything that's going on at that time?
Yes.
What did you see happening between the two officers and Mr. Ellis?
Their behavior, it was off. They were looking around and saying, put your hands behind your bag, and he wasn't even moving. And
When you say he wasn't even moving,
Manuel Ellis wasn't moving.
and how was he positioned at that time?
On his, more or less on his stomach, but on the side of his stomach, at the angle. Looks twisted, kind of, yeah.
But on the ground, on his stomach in a twisted way?
Yes.
Did you eventually move forward through the light?
Yes, I thought someone honked at me, and I proceeded to honk at Sarah to get her to move so we can go to where we were going.
When you moved forward to go to where you were going, how did you navigate past the patrol vehicle?
Off to the,
It was also around like this.
Okay, so you went into the turn lane and went around it. And when you went around, across approximately where was Mr. Ellis and the two officers at that time?
So here's our,
And just for the record, you noted that they were by the curb just in front of the stop line?
yeah,
And when you went, go ahead and sit down, thank you. And when you went around the patrol vehicle and you observed them on the ground right in front of the stop line, was Mr. Ellis moving at that time?
No,
How fast did you go when you went around the car?
less than 5 miles per hour. Was still willing to watch and see
And why did you want to watch it?
to make sure that he was okay and that me leaving was okay to do.
And were you able to see if he was okay at that time?
No. I could not see if he was okay. I couldn't see his face. I just knew there was, at the time, someone on the ground.
At any time did you see any of the officers have do you know what a taser is? A taser gun?
Yes.
And at any time did you see any of the officers have a taser out at that time?
No.
Were you, at any time, in the time that you were there, did you hear or see if Mr. Ellis got tased? That you could tell?
No.
When you went around the patrol vehicle and around the officers and Mr. Ellis, at any time when you were going around them, did you see Mr. Ellis moving?
No.
At any time did you see Mr. Ellis hitting the officers when you were going around them and they were on the ground in front of the patrol car?
No.
At any time did you see Mr. Ellis kicking at the officers when you were going around?
No.
And you said that you weren't able to see if Mr. Ellis was okay because you couldn't see his face. Why'd you leave?
you gotta connect again.
I'll just go ahead.
After the realization of my daughter in the car and I don't want nothing happening to me, I thought it was best, and how late it was, also being dark out and my daughters being young, to get them to where they needed to go.
And about how far from that stoplight is Sadie's apartment?
7 minutes, 7 minutes down the street.
And it's just right down the street on 96.
Yeah.
When you got to Sadie's apartment, did Sarah also go there?
Yes.
And when you got to her apartment, what did you do?
We told Sadie what happened. Got the girls inside, got them to lay down and stuff. Me personally.
Where was Sarah?
Sarah drove back to try to go see more, or what fully happened, but it was all blocked off already by that point.
And before Sarah went back, did you know at all if she was recording with her phone what happened?
No.
When she came back she went back to the scene and then she came back to the apartment, right?
Yes.
And when she came back to the apartment, did you have any conversation with her about what you had seen?
Not specifically what I have seen, no. But I then did see the video.
And was that the first time that you learned that she had videoed?
Yes.
And when you watched it, who was there with you?
Me, Sadie, and Sarah.
So were all three of you watching the videos?
Yeah.
And did you talk about what happened then?
Probably that night. And probably the next day talked about it.
And that night when you first talked to Sarah about it, how were you feeling at that?
Objection to others.
Permit this a little.
When you first talked to Sarah about it, how were you feeling at that point?
Confused. I was. Mm,
You're not finished his answer. If you have more to say, please proceed.
more a disbelief of what I seen.
Did you express that to tell Sarah that too?
She definitely felt the same way at the time.
Sustain.
And it's okay, Mr. Lauriel, just, did you tell Sarah that, not what Sarah felt, but did you tell Sarah how you felt?
No, not specifically.
When you and Sarah talked about it, you known Sarah at that time for how many years?
13, 14, something like that.
And when you talked with her about it, how would you describe how she was emotionally at that time?
Is this in the immediate aftermath or the next day?
I believe that he said, he testified that they talked about the first time that night when they got back, or they got to their apartment.
And said they testified and talked about it again the next day too.
I clarified, that night when you got to Sadie's apartment, how was Sarah emotionally, how would you describe her emotionally at that time? Talk about it.
Well, we'll let me answer.
I can't answer that.
Just don't remember.
Don't remember.
Thank you. So you learned that she had videoed it and you watched the video. About how many times did you watch that video that night?
Like 5 to 10 times.
And you watched it on her phone?
Yeah.
And after you watched it on her phone, that night, you talked about it the next morning, did you watch it any time shortly following that? That was a poorly phrased question. Go ahead.
Like 4 days later, we ended up going back to Zenas and Holly's, and we expressed the video then with them as well. So that was 3 or 4 days later. It was still being talked about.
And, Keon, why didn't you go to the police at that time?
I did not, at the time, even with what I saw, knew that anyone had passed or anything. And I just, when Sarah went back and checked and everything was blocked off and there was ambulances, that it was handled by the police because they were the police.
When did you learn that Mr. Ellis died that night?
Months late, way later.
How did you learn that he died that night?
Overruled the answer.
I learned that he passed that night. I woke up at,
I'm not sure. This question was, how did you find out about Mr. Ellis's death?
through Sarah through Facebook.
And so Sarah told you that she had learned through Facebook that he died?
Yes. And that we were there. Okay.
And once you learned from Sarah that, that Mr. Ellis had died and you had witnessed that, between the two officers, what did you do in response to that?
I did tell her to contact the police because of the video that she had. And yeah,
Did you contact the police at all yourself?
no.
Why didn't you contact them at that time?
When I told Sarah that we should, she wanted to contact the family, and since it was her video, I let her have control of what she did with it.
And when you had learned that Mr. Ellis died that night, and there was a post on Facebook, did you actually read the Facebook post?
Not me personally, no.
Shortly after that, or within that time period, did you read anything or any articles in the newspaper or postings on the internet?
Objections and others.
Relevance?
Your Honor, it goes to its foundation for where to go next. I can ask a different question. When you learned about the Facebook posting, sir, and that you had watched that occur that night, did you take any steps to reach out to anybody from the family yourself?
No.
And other than watching it on Sarah's, the video on Sarah's phone, did you ever watch her video on any other sources?
Objections and others.
Sustained.
You testified that you watched it on her phone about 10 to 15 times. Approximately how many times have you watched the video?
Again, objections and
I
others.
think it misstates his question, his answer to it, but that's okay. Let's ask the question again. I think he said it was 5 to 10 times that night, then he saw it again later with his
I
previous
appreciate the
involvement.
correction, Your Honor. About how many times total did you watch Sarah's video? Videos?
You mean since it happened to today?
Objections and others.
I'll permit this, the answer.
To today, from Sarah's videos and all of the from Sarah's video and the news videos that came out from her video, I watched it probably 20 to 25 times.
And when was the last time, approximately, that you watched it?
8 months, 9 months. It's been a long time.
And Mr. Lowry, do you remember being interviewed by defense counsel with myself and Ms. East and Mr. Reed present and several of the individuals at the defense counsel table?
Yes.
And that was in November of 2022. At that time, you had stated that you watched it, the last time you watched it was about 14 months.
Objection being closed.
Your Honor's foundation to get an understanding of timing.
Why don't you just ask him what he told you to do that?
I will do so, thank you. Actually, before I ask you that, we were interviewed in November of 2022. Have you watched the video since then?
No.
And so that'd be almost a year from today, 11 months. And do you remember how much time you told us in the defense interview about how long it had been since you watched the videos?
No.
Is it something that you have sought out to watch often?
Objections and others.
Sustained.
Do you recall what Mr. Ellis was wearing at the time?
No, I do not.
And since you learned that he died that night, have you been in contact with the family attorney, Mr. Bible?
Objections and others. Also gets me motions and others.
You know, I'm leading particularly for that reason.
Sustained.
Mr. Lowry, at any time were you interviewed by Mr. Bible?
Yes.
And was that the first interview that you did about what you witnessed?
Yes.
Do you recall approximately when that interview took place?
I do not remember.
Was Sarah also interviewed that day?
Yes.
And where did that interview take place?
I was outside of Zenith and Holly House. Yes.
Had you planned on giving the interview that day?
Objection, Your Honor, no.
Were you also interviewed by Washington State Patrol about what occurred back in October of 2020?
Yes.
Was that a recorded interview that you gave voluntarily?
Yes.
Mr. Lowry, I know you testified that you didn't know Mr. Ellis at that time. Did you, and you knew Sarah obviously, did you know anyone by the name of Seth Howden at that time?
No.
And have you ever talked to Mr. Howden since this incident?
No.
Have you known anybody by the name of Ayana White?
No.
Have you ever talked with Ms. White since that incident?
No.
The interview that you gave to Mr. Bible, was that on a video?
I don't remember.
That was right outside of Pauline and Lewis's house?
Yes, it was recorded.
Okay, and when you say it was recorded, was it video recorded or audio recorded?
I believe it was a camera.
Okay. Your Honor, I thought I did, but I must not have moved to admit 151A, which has the circle, and I pointed that out on the
Do we have it?
We have a screenshot of it, and we will provide it to the court. Once you print it, we'll be great.
Okay, don't forget to do that. 151A is admitted.
No further questions at this time.
Okay, cross-examination. Mr. Pritchard.
Lowry, good morning.
Good morning.
Actually, could you put that up one day for one?
Your Honor, actually, I think Ms. Smith is going up here.
I don't care, just put it up.
You okay up there?
Yes.
Easy water?
No.
I think they're almost ready.
Mr. Lowry, I wanna, just gonna move back a little bit here. This is the intersection, this Ainsworth and 96 is the intersection that you and Sarah and the patrol vehicle were at back in March of 2020, correct?
Yes.
And you had come from the place that you had been staying for a period of time, correct?
Yes.
And you left because of a argument that you and Sarah were in, and Paulie and Zena said you had to leave.
Yes.
You were really upset about having to leave that location, correct?
Yes.
That was disruptive for you, for your young daughters, and for Sarah, correct?
Yes.
You were still upset when you came to this area at 96 and Asia, correct?
More or less, no.
Well, more or less, you talked about Sarah yelling at you at some point in time during this event, and that upset you as well, correct?
Yes.
So it wasn't like a cordial conversation that you had with Sarah. She told you to get back in the car in no uncertain terms.
Yeah, get back in the car. Yep.
Yeah. And she said if you don't get back in the car, she's going to go to her fiance's house, correct?
Yes.
So the two of you have been fighting that day, ultimately resulting in getting kicked out of the place that you're living. Correct?
Yeah.
And so you're driving from Xena and Hollies, and how far away was it?
To Sadie's or to the
No, not the Sadie's, from Holly and Xena. Where were they living
on right street down right path on Portland?
at? Portland. So you're at Portland area. You're north of the area that's here, this area, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so you took you a couple of streets. You said you went to 38, and then you went to Pacific, and then off Pacific you took a right on the 96.
Yes.
And so the two of you were driving just the normal course to come to this area, correct?
Yes.
When you came to the intersection of 96 and Ainsworth, you said that you came up there and the patrol car was stopped, correct?
Yes.
How long had the patrol car been stopped at that intersection at the time that you arrived?
Counter calls for speculation.
I don't know, maybe saw the car stop.
I didn't think when I first got there he was there any longer than I was. He could have just pulled around in front of me. I didn't think anything until the light turned green.
Okay, that's fine. Did you follow the patrol car to the intersection?
No, I don't remember seeing. Sarah was in front of me and I was following Sarah.
Okay, so you're following Sarah. She's driving on 96.
Yes.
You come to the intersection, and at the road or the stop line, there is a patrol car that is there, correct?
Yes.
You didn't realize the patrol car was there until she stopped, correct?
Yeah.
So you weren't paying attention to what was going on that evening any more than you would any other point, correct?
I'm focused on. Yeah.
Okay. So you got your kids in the car, the back of the car seats, right?
Yes.
So you got one child on one side and one child on the other side.
Yes.
Are you talking to the two kids?
I had music playing.
Okay. The kids were upset that they had to leave, right?
Yes.
They're crying in the car as you're driving away.
Yes.
So it's kind of a disruptive evening, that evening, after you left Holly's.
Yeah.
Right? And you got the music on, correct?
Yes.
And you got the music on loud.
Yep.
Right? And your windows are up in your vehicle, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're driving up to this area, you're playing music loudly, the girls are crying, your life is kind of in disarray right now because you're leaving the place you've been living at for a period of time. Correct?
Yes.
Sarah's chewing on you a bit, threatening to go to her fiance's home that evening, correct? Cross-examination.
I'll permit this, so we'll-
Yes.
All right, so she's on you, and you're responding in some fashion, basically just going to where Sarah says to go, correct?
Yep.
All right. So you come up to the intersection, you see the police car there, ultimately, and you're just sitting, waiting for that car to leave, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so you're sitting there, Sarah's sitting there, and then you ultimately realize there's a police car in front of you, correct?
Yeah.
Now, you say that you saw on your exhibit, this is exhibit 37, you say that you saw Mr. Ellis coming down the sidewalk, correct?
Yes.
Are you sure you saw him coming down the sidewalk, or do you recall seeing him next to the car?
Sidewalk.
All right, so what did he have? Did he carry anything?
Not that I can specifically say.
Okay, so you didn't see anything in his hands.
No.
Don't recall what he was wearing.
Not exactly.
Okay, what do you mean not exactly?
Pants. pants, a shirt.
Okay, what color?
Not I can specifically.
Okay. And so he comes to the vehicle and you say that they are, it appears that they're doing what?
Will you say that, please?
Yeah, what is Mr. Ellis doing when he comes to the police car?
He never made it forward to the police car. He was just walking.
So he's walking, he's walking up to the police car, correct?
Correct.
How long did it take him to get from the area that you saw him to the police car?
10 seconds?
Okay,
5
so-
seconds?
So 5 to 10 seconds, he's walking up there, and then you said that the passenger side car door opened.
Yes.
Did you notice if he was talking with the individuals in the car?
It looked like he was called over and was conversating when he was close enough, yes.
It looked like he was.
Engaged in a normal conversation, and then the door opens.
Okay, did you see him hit the window?
No.
Do you say that he didn't hit the window?
We asked that.
Yeah, you say that he never hit the window.
He did not hit the window.
You didn't see him hit the window.
Did not see him hit the window.
And so he is next to the patrol car, and you said the car door opened and hit him.
Correct.
Right? And so if this bar is the patrol car, and I'm walking from your direction to the patrol car, the car door opens up.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
right.
Yes.
Was he still walking to the patrol car when the door opened up?
No. He was in enough distance that when the door swung open, it hit him.
Okay, well, my question is, was he still walking toward the car?
Wasn't a movement to the car when it happened, yes.
So he's still walking toward the car, and the car door opens,
Yes.
and hits him where?
More or less the front or side of his hip thigh area.
On the right side? Or was it the left side?
Check your honor, I say aloud and witness to answer your question.
You gave him enough time. Did you say whether he hit Mr. Ellis on Mr. Ellis's right hip or his left?
I'm trying to get he never fully turned into the vehicle, so it's going to be to his right side.
His right side. Okay, so this is the vehicle here. This is my right side. So he's walking toward the car, and the car door open hits him on the right side.
Well, but that would be the front door, the passenger would be on the other side, so yeah, the right side still.
The right side. This is the passenger side.
Well, then it would be flipped because
So
the
walking
car-
back.
no, well, how you're describing it, how you're distributing it, it wouldn't make any sense to how it goes because the car would be over on that side, so the door would have to be, you would have to be on that side. You wouldn't be getting hit over here. That's
Can you please step down and walk towards the bar and show me how this car door hit Mr. Ellis? So you're walking up, and this is the passenger side car.
Hold on a second, just so we're clear. The front of the car is facing this direction.
Yes.
in this direction. So then he's walking this direction, and the door hits him on the right side.
Okay, so he's not even up to the car.
No,
He's walking past the car.
no, he's diagonal and angled, like on the picture right there.
Okay.
Walks angled, so he's coming towards the car. So either way, even if the door's gonna hit me.
Okay, so it's hitting him in the right thigh.
Yes.
Is that right?
Side area, yes.
Okay, great. So the right side, the door's hitting him,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes.
And he then, you said he falls to the ground,
Yes.
okay? And so if the car door is, we're mid-car, he's falling right down there by the car door, correct?
He was more or less hitting, knocked away and away.
How far away was
Not more than 2 feet
Okay.
or a foot.
So here's the car door where the blue line's at, opens up that far, then he's 2 more feet over,
Yeah. What's that?
and he gets knocked to his stomach, to his side, or to his back.
Side belly, stomach area, more like this.
Okay, so he's on his
I'll
side.
lay on
Okay.
the ground, but
He's on his left side or his right side?
I can't be specific.
Okay, you don't remember.
Don't remember.
And then you said that the passenger got out of the car and did what?
Instantly got on top of him.
Got on top of him. So did he straddle him?
Don't know what that term is.
Did he get out of the car and step over Mr. Ellis?
No, he instantly got on top of him.
So he got down on his knees?
He was on the ground with him.
So Mr. Ellis is on his side, and the officer, the passer's down on his knees over Mr. Ellis,
On top of him, yep.
just like this.
I couldn't specifically say just like that, but he was on top of him.
He's on top of him, and what is he doing?
Oh, that's when I saw the two of the police wings come out.
So the passenger officer hit him 2 or 3 times?
Yes.
Or just swang at him 2 or 3 times?
He swung at him.
Okay, so you don't know he hit him.
No.
Okay, so the passenger officer swings at him with his left hand or his right hand?
Right, backs towards me. Yep.
So it swings at him 3 times, 2 or 3 times,
Correct.
and Mr. Ellis is just lying there on his side.
Yeah.
Did not respond at all.
No.
So you don't recall, was it his left side or his right side?
Do not recall.
But he's just laying there.
Yep.
And where are his hands?
Couldn't see his hands.
Okay, so you couldn't see where Mr. Ellis's hands are located. All right, so he's laying there.
He looked twisted up.
He's twisted up. Twisted up how?
It's so hard to explain without demonstrating, but I don't want to.
Was he a ball?
No. So if I can't explain it. I can't explain it really. Like if my legs were flat down, but then I'm on my side like this, but my legs are still flat. You know what I mean? I can't. It's just.
So let me see how I can help you. His legs, his body part,
Or more.
part of his body is on the ground flat.
More or less flat, yes.
And he's twisted up.
Yes.
So he's down on the ground like this, and his body's twisted.
Yes.
That's the way he's at.
Correct.
And the passenger police officer is on him
On him.
and taking swings at him.
Correct.
Don't know if he hit him.
Nope.
But Mr. Ellis is laying.
Yep.
Okay. And then after that, you said that the driver police officer got out of the car, correct?
Yes.
He turned on his yellow flashers.
The yellow lights came on first, then he turned the lights to blue and red, and then he opens the door and gets out and circles the front of the vehicle.
Okay, all right. So when does the driver officer turn the yellow flashers on?
As soon as the passenger cop was on his way of getting out and on top of Manuel Ellis.
Okay? So the passenger officer is out of the car, is going toward Mr. Ellis, who's just 2 feet away from the car, and the driver officer turns on the yellow lights.
Yes.
Okay. So that's the first that you noticed, the yellow lights.
Yes.
And then, did he turn on the blue lights?
The normal cop lights.
The
Yes.
wig-wag blue and red lights.
Yes.
Then he gets out of the car, correct?
Yes.
Which way did the officer go after he got out of the car?
In front of the vehicle, in front of the passenger. I mean the patrol vehicle.
Okay, so he went around the patrol vehicle,
Mm-hmm.
came over to where Mr. Ellis and the passenger police officer is located. He gets down and grabs his legs.
Gets on top of him on his legs. Not grab him with his hands. He's on him. He's on him as well because he's on the back half of Manuel Ellis, and the passenger's on the front half of him.
Okay. And so the passenger police officer is on Mr. Ellis, just on him. Correct?
After the swings, yes.
All right. And the driver is he straddling him like on the back as well?
More or less, he's on his hands and knees, and he's putting his weight into him.
He's on his hands and knees, he's putting his weight on Mr. Ellis
Yep.
on the back of his legs.
Yeah, back half of him. So from his hips down to his feet, that whole area.
Very good. And You didn't see, and the driver never took a swing at Mr. Ellis.
Not that I saw, no.
Never struck her.
No.
You didn't see a taser. You know what a taser is.
Yes.
And you didn't see a taser, correct?
No.
You did not hear a taser.
No.
Okay. And so at the time that you and Sarah left the scene, Mr. Ellis was laying on the ground, correct?
Yes.
Passenger police officer is on his upper part of his body, correct?
Yes.
And the driver police officer is back on his back part, his hips and his midsection.
Yes.
Not striking him, not doing anything.
Midsection hips to his feet. Not mid. Not the midsection. The driver cop was on from his hips down towards like his ankle, his feet area,
Okay.
not his midsection.
So back like the mid leg.
Yeah. So yeah.
Gotcha. Now you said that you heard a police officer say, "Show me your hands."
Correct.
How many times did you hear that being said to Mr. Ellis?
The one time when I was driving past.
Okay. All right. So you why don't you come back down to the screen again? On 151. You are driving from a location which I think is 151A, where your red circle's at. Yeah. And you're driving. You're into the turn lane, and you're going past.
Circles,
Right.
first, and then you,
Right.
and I look at what they're doing, which they're about right here.
Okay.
The passenger cop is on his top, the top side of the manual, is saying, show me your hands, and this is where the taser part comes in, about who tase you, came in at that part. But the manual wasn't moving in this area, and the cops weren't even looking at him. They were distracted and looking all around. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So as you're driving by the stop line, you see the three individuals on the ground.
Yes.
All right. And you heard an officer say, "Show me your hands."
Correct.
And you didn't see a response from Mr. Ellis?
I don't see him movement. No.
Mr. Ellis how was Mr. Ellis on the ground at that point in time?
The same.
So he's still
Twisted up.
twisted up on his front and his side.
Yeah.
And can you see the officers grabbing for his hands?
When driving by, I saw the officers holding him down and not really paying him any mind while speaking about what they were doing. Or
So they had him, but they weren't really responding in any fashion.
not,
Kind of like the event was over.
yeah, that was done. And they was just checking their surroundings.
Okay. And you heard an officer say, either give us your hands or we're going to please you.
Correct.
Okay. Do you recall which officer said it?
No.
Okay. But an officer said it.
Yes.
Okay. Now, and then you drove to Sadie's residence.
Correct.
And when you got there, you and Sarah are still bickering with each other, correct?
No.
So she's called him.
Yeah, she was wanting to go back.
She wanted to go back and see what else is going on.
Yeah.
All right. And so she left, and then she responded, returned back to Sadie's place sometime.
Yes.
Now, how long did it take the driver, after he got out of the vehicle, to get to the passenger?
He didn't fully sprint, but I say it was like a hustle jog, so it's like three seconds he got from out of the vehicle after the lights were already on, closed the door, and went around the front of the vehicle.
Okay, so he turned on the yellows,
Yep.
turned on the red and blue,
Yep.
and then he opened the door, correct?
Yes.
He got out of the car, correct?
Yes.
Shut the door,
Yes.
and then he kind of trotted around.
Yes.
Nothing urgent in that.
Nah, it did not look like the driver had urgency behind it.
From your observation, it looked like the passenger had things under control.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Ellis was not struggling at the least.
No.
And the driver came over there just kind of assist what was going on.
Yes.
Okay. And to your knowledge, it looked like Mr. Ellis had been apprehended.
Yes.
Now, while you're sitting there at the intersection, do you recall seeing any vehicles, come on, back there, any vehicles down here in this area? No. That's the Ainsworth pointing south. You didn't see any cars?
No, I was focused on what was going on in front of me.
Okay.
And then where I was needing to go.
All right, and so your focus is on your kids, got the music in the car, you see this commotion going on, you get out for a second, Sarah tells you get back in the car, and then you drive away.
Let's ask if that's right or not.
Please say it again.
Sure. Your focus is really on your children who are crying in the car, correct?
My children crying in the car.
Yeah, they're crying.
When after Sarah told me I had my kids in the car, yes, the full realization was like, yeah, we gotta get them home, but I still was unable to multitask, and I was still coherent and seeing what was going on in front of me.
Okay,
I'm able to,
so you're able to do these various tasks.
yeah.
And then the three of you in your car and Sarah going to Sadie's house.
Yeah.
Okay, excuse me. Mr. Lowry, you were asked about the various interviews that you did over the last couple of years, correct?
Yeah.
And actually, the first time that you were interviewed, was on the Tacoma Police Department, June 11th, 2020. You recall that?
My first interview
Yeah.
at the police department. My first interview?
Yes, sir.
My first interview was outside of Holly's and James's house.
Okay. Just a second.
The witness is indicating
He needs the restroom.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He needs the restroom.
he needs to use the restroom.
Yeah, I need his restroom. Like 2 seconds.
So you're gonna take a break.
Oh man. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I'm sorry. Sorry.
recollection of being impaired that day. And he said, I never drive impaired. And then, so then Mr. Freaky said, so you're not, are you saying, and then the witness said, no, I have no recollection, but I'm telling you, me personally having kids in the car, I don't drive impaired. And Mr. Freaky said, okay, I just want to be clear, are you saying you did or you didn't? I'm sorry. You bet. I'm asking, did you or did you not? And he says, I'm telling you, I can't physically remember, but I'm telling you, based on me as a person, I wouldn't. But I also got kicked out. So, I think what he's saying in a nutshell is, I use marijuana daily. I would never do it if I knew I was going to have to drive my kids. But then we got kicked out of the house, and it was 11 o'clock at night, and so I think we should at least be able to inquire as to whether this witness was under the influence that night. He just testified that he's good at multitasking, which, I don't know if that's something that people who smoke marijuana or who are impaired by marijuana are good at. But also, Your Honor, these two witnesses, him and Ms. McDowell, are arguably the state's most significant witnesses because they're the only two that say that they saw the beginning of the interaction between Mr. Ellis and police. The defense has asserted self-defense, both us and Officer Burbank, and so that initial interaction is crucial. If these individuals were under the influence, we at least need to be able to ask them under oath whether they were or they weren't. Thank you.
You have any dog in this fight?
I don't have anything else to say, Your Honor.
Mr.
Yeah.
Calago?
Your Honor, the court previously ruled on this in our motion eliminate 13, and the court granted our motion eliminate to exclude. And there is not testimony or evidence from Mr. Lowry that he smoked pot that night. He specifically said that he would not drive with his kids in the car if he was impaired. So there's also no evidence that if he smoked pot, that it impacted his ability at that time. In addition to that, as far as his testimony today, Your Honor, that's a HIPAA violation to go into, and it's not a matter of drug use today. It's to go into why he's having a hard time sitting still is something that he's elected to not disclose publicly, and it's a HIPAA violation.
I don't know if it's a HIPAA violation.
It's a diagnosis, Your Honor, and he doesn't need to disclose the diagnosis publicly.
I don't know that. I mean, the allegation is that, or at least the question is, he wants to take up outside the presence of the jury whether or not he's under the influence of any drugs today. We're talking about street drugs?
Yes, Your Honor.
Talking about street drugs, right? And if you're under the influence of street drugs, it's hardly a HIPAA violation. Right? What am I missing?
Well, at this point, Your Honor, there isn't any basis for him to say that he's under the influence of anything other than the fact that he's up there and he's gotten up and down numerous times to assist both parties on describing what he saw. I mean, I'm not seeing what he's pointing at for he's under the influence.
Well, he wants to ask him this outside the presence of the jury. Does that make it any better?
I think there's no evidence of it, so I don't think it's a path that he should be permitted to go
But didn't you
down.
just say a minute ago that
He
he's
has a hard
having
time sitting still,
hard time sitting still?
and that's all that there is. I mean, a hard time sitting still doesn't mean you're under the influence of something.
Could be. It seems, I guess I would also say it seems a little bit, maybe not extraordinarily, maybe this is simply a vocabulary issue, but it seems like there's occasionally during his testimony where he's having difficulty sort of understanding
No.
Great. The other part is that on the date of the event, March 3rd,
Your Honor, is the court is the court allowing him to go into the question on?
There was the motion in limine about the,
Right.
unless there's some kind of information about its use, its effect on it.
well, if I might just ask a question.
All right, go ahead, I'll let you do it.
Mr. Lowry, previously you were interviewed a bunch of times, correct?
Yes.
And you had acknowledged that you had, were a daily user of marijuana, correct?
Yes.
And the date of the event, March 3rd, 2020, you were asked to leave Holly and Zena's home at about 11 o'clock or 11:15 that evening, correct?
Yes.
All right. How much marijuana had you smoked that day before the meeting?
I don't know.
Okay, but you have marijuana.
Yeah.
And Sarah smoked as well, correct?
No, object, Your Honor, this is outside the scope for
This is outside the presence of the jury. I'll permit it.
Sarah smoked, yes.
Both you and Sarah smoked marijuana on that particular day, correct?
I know I did.
All right, that's fine. And with respect to smoking, when did you start smoking marijuana that day?
I do not know.
Okay. And were you smoking up until the point in time that Holly and Zena said you had to leave?
No.
When did you stop before?
I can easily remember that before getting kicked out, that was something I was about to be on my way to go do.
Was to go smoke marijuana?
Yes. Then before I got kicked out, so there was means that I did not get the opportunity to.
Okay, so you did smoking marijuana at Holly and Zena's that day?
Oh, I lived there, so yes, in the morning, but towards the nighttime when I would be thinking I'm going to bed, I did not get an opportunity to, no.
Okay, but you were to go someplace else.
When I arrived there, yes,
When you arrived where?
to Sadie's.
So when you got to Sadie's, you guys started smoking.
Not instantly.
But you smoked that night.
Correct.
Okay, good, thank you. That's all the rest of it.
Okay, go ahead, the jury now.
Your Honor, the state, at this point, I don't believe defense has established that this would impact his ability to.
Are you going there?
If the judge will let me. I'm not going.
Then I'm not seeing any information that suggests what the effect was at the time. So, no.
If I could have just a couple more questions regarding this subject.
I think we're done. Secretary.
I can't have any questions.
You need some questions? You haven't, you
I'd like to
hadn't
ask.
voiced a concern.
I'd like to ask a couple of questions. He said he smoked that day. I mean, I'd like to inquire a little further as to the recency and the impact that could have on him. I mean, his perceptions are crucial. So.
Your Honor, I believe you testified that he smoked that morning, and he didn't leave until close to 11 o'clock that night, and he didn't get to smoke any pot that night before he left.
I don't know. But I don't know, even if there was some information that he had marijuana earlier in the evening, what information we're gonna have about its impact on him?
Oh, we could ask him.
Well, you can already ask him that, and if there's some, and I don't think there's an issue there.
So we can ask him that during cross.
Well, you can ask him about his memory of the events. Mr. Perch has already asked him about the distractions in his car. So,
Memory of the events, though, Your Honor, wouldn't include use of any drugs.
no, we're not going there.
All right, thank you.
Let's have the jury.
Yes, please. Thanks. This is water? No. Do I have to do something? Oh.
Complicated
Welcome back, everyone. Please be seated. Resume when you're ready, Mr. Purcell.
Mr. Lowry, just going back a little bit in your testimony, you said that when you were driving to the area there at Ainsworth in 96, that you came around a corner and then you happened upon the patrol vehicle. Recall that?
Yeah.
Which corner are you referring to?
Towards 96, coming 96, just that, the turn to the street of 96, that's the corner. Because it's a 7-Eleven there, and then it goes like this.
What is the street that you're driving on?
Pacific.
Okay, so you're talking about going from Pacific to 96.
Yeah.
And then also, you were asked during the interview that whether Mr. Ellis had anything in his pants, and you said no, correct?
Correct.
And then you said it looked like he was walking to the 7-Eleven.
Because the 7-Eleven is in the direction his body was facing.
The 7-Eleven on Pacific.
Correct.
Okay. Now, during the case, you were interviewed several times, correct?
Yes.
You were interviewed by Mr. Bible June 4th, 2020. You recall that?
Not the specific date, but being interviewed, yes.
You recall him being the first person that interviewed you?
Yes.
All right. And then you recall being contacted by the Pierce County Sheriff's detectives for an interview on or about June 11th, 2020.
Objection, Your Honor. Date. Just for clarification, it's June 8th is when it's documented.
I'm sorry?
June 8th is when the contact is documented. That's not
Let me
June
read that. Mr. Lowry, do you recall being contacted by the Pierce County Sheriff's deputies on June 8th of 2020?
I do not remember, no.
You deny that you were interviewed by the Sheriff's deputies that day?
No.
Do you recall being interviewed by a Washington State Patrol detective, Jeff Rui, on October 28th of 2020?
If that's inside the building on 112th, then yes.
No, I'm not sure it is. Just a second. Do you recall that you were being interviewed along with Mr. Bible being present?
Yeah.
Okay. And so that would be the interview you were referring to?
Yes.
And then you were interviewed again by another investigator from the State Patrol, the Attorney General's office, Mr. Heitzman. That was on or about March 8th, 2021.
I don't remember the date, but yes.
Okay. And then you were interviewed finally on November 28th of 2022 by my partner and some of the other individuals.
Don't remember the date, but yes.
Okay, so you don't remember dates, but you remember the multiple interviews.
Yes.
Okay, good. Now, with respect to the video, you said you saw a video that Sarah McDowell had done of that evening, correct?
Correct.
What is your recollection of how long that video lasted?
I do not know. It's been too long to remember the exact length of the video.
Okay, let me see if I can help you here. Mr. Lowry, May Roger. We have three of us to do about Mr. Lowry, on hand you what's marked is Exhibit 848. Let me help you go to the page. If you can turn to page 58 of that document. Let me suggest this. Lowry, could you take a look at in lines 15 through 19, and read that to yourself, let me know when you're done.
I'm done.
Okay, and does that refresh your memory of how long the video lasted?
No.
That doesn't refresh your memory.
No.
Okay. Let me ask you this, you recall that the video lasted for more than 2 minutes?
Objection, Your Honor, this characterizes more than.
Overruled.
Yes.
Okay, so your memory is it lasted more than 2 minutes, but you don't know how long it lasted, would that be correct?
Yes.
When was the last time you talked to Sarah McDowell about coming to court to testify?
Like 3 days ago, I was not in contact with everyone, and she contacted me to let me know.
Okay, so you talked to Sarah about the testimony?
Not about it, not any details.
Okay.
Just what I needed to come talk to, I forget people's names.
Talk to lawyers.
Yeah.
And you and Sarah, you co-parent your two daughters.
Yes.
How much contact do you have with Sarah on a weekly basis?
Every week.
Okay. And this case periodically would come up in your discussions?
No.
It didn't, but she just called you 3 days ago saying your testimony.
Well, yeah, I've been kind of going through stuff, so I've been ignoring everything.
Okay, very good. And so you're getting ready to testify?
Say that again?
You were getting prepared to testify?
After she let me know that about testifying, yeah.
Okay. And that's testify today about what it is that you recall from that day?
Correct.
Excuse me. You know, on the direct examination, you were asked about what you and Sarah did after leaving the scene, correct?
Yes.
And you went to Sadie's, right?
Yes.
And you were asked a question regarding, did you discuss this case, or did you discuss what it was that you saw earlier with Sarah and Sadie? Recall that?
Yes.
You were asked that question as well back by Investigator Heisman back in March of 2021. You recall that?
No.
Okay. Mr. Barry, I'm going to give you as marked as Exhibit 847. And if you would, please take a look at the second page of that document. Yes, I sure do. Just a you take a look at the last full paragraph at the bottom of page 2.
Yeah.
Okay, it says you guys didn't do anything about this, correct?
Objection, Your Honor, mischaracterized.
It says,
I'll sustain the form of, I'll sustain the form of the question.
Computer has been locked up. Your IP address was used without your knowledge or consent to visit website that contains identity theft virus. To unlock the computer, please call support immediately. Please do not attempt to shut down or restart your computer. Doing that may lead to data loss and identity.
I apologize, I don't remember what that was. I wasn't doing anything inappropriate, I'll tell you that.
We'll be the judge of that after a full investigation. I sustain the form of the question.
Let me ask. You were asked questions regarding what you and Sarah did after arriving at Sadie's home related to this matter, correct?
By
yes.
Well, just, no. You and Sarah talked amongst the two of yourselves about this event, that's what you testified, correct?
Yeah.
You told Detective Heitzman that you said that you did not talk about anything, doing anything in regards to what they saw. You recall being asked, you recall giving that answer to the detective.
Well, yeah.
Okay, so you really didn't talk about doing anything, correct?
Because me personally wasn't doing anything.
Fair enough. And isn't it true that when you guys went out there to Sadie's home, that Sarah got some pretty disturbing news about a friend that had passed away the next morning, correct?
What?
Yes, do you recall the...
I don't remember hearing about her friend. I know a friend's passed, but I don't remember timelines or remember her being sad during that about her friend.
Okay, that's fine. That wasn't fair. You're not aware of there being an issue with respect to what Sarah said?
No.
Okay. Excuse me. Mr. Lowry, getting back to the, can you put 151 up, somebody? 151, please. Okay. Mr. Lowry, I want to have you come back down to this screen here. When the officers came into contact with Mr. Ellis, if I understand your testimony correctly, he's walking to the car is facing this direction, got it? And he's walking to the car door opens up, strikes him in the right hip, correct? Can I answer on the correct?
Objection, Your Honor, this is the last answer.
Overruled.
And then he falls to the ground. So he fell to the ground, he didn't run away, he fell, dropped to the ground.
Yes.
Okay. And so that would be at the side, about the middle of the vehicle, correct?
Middle of the vehicle or the middle of the car door, the way you just put your hands on it.
The car door, he fell down about directly where the car door was located, correct?
Yeah, but it also knocked him away.
It knocked him away a couple of feet, correct? So he is, if the car is as wide as this car is, he's about right in the middle of this bar on the ground.
But he was never shoulder face this way. It was being this way.
Okay.
He would fall at an angle
So he'd be falling the direction that if I were to go down to the ground,
back this way.
okay, right here, correct?
Yeah.
But basically in the middle of the car, of the side of the car, correct?
No, I knocked him towards the front.
You knocked
towards the front.
moving to the front.
Moving towards the front, yes. He got, the door swang open. He didn't just open the door and hit him and then he got out. No, the door swang open.
Gotcha. It didn't knock him, but it did knock him beyond the front of the car.
No,
Okay.
the front of the car's here and they're here.
So they're still at the front of the car, correct?
Correct.
He doesn't move at all on the ground, right?
No.
And so that, when you left, that was his final resting place, was right there at the front of the
Where
door.
I saw it, yes. Jay?
Mr. Lowry, thank you very much. That's all the questions I have. Those exhibits will be there.
Okay, Mr. Evans?
Thank you, Aaron. Mr. Lowry, good morning.
Good morning.
A few questions for you. So you drew this exhibit, Exhibit 37. Do you mind if I pull this back out?
Sure.
I don't know. I'll show it to you again, just kind of fresh recollection of it. I don't want to cover you, so I don't know the best spot to. Can I put it here, Mitch? Okay, didn't want to block you. All right, so.
I'm blocked, but I don't mind.
But you're okay.
So much of the jury's not.
Right, okay. So Exhibit 37 is a drawing you did essentially in direct testimony. You described Mr. Ellis walking down the sidewalk, kind of cuts over towards the police car, door hits him in the right hip, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, Mr. Kurtzer mentioned that you have given a lot of interviews in this case over the last few years, right?
Yes.
Okay, and one of those interviews was to the detective Jeff Wu. Do you remember that?
Not by name, but
He was a state patrol detective, and it was at the Washington State Patrol District Office in Tacoma. I think you mentioned on 112.
on 12th. Okay, then yes.
Does that sound right? Okay. So I'm going to hand you what's been marked as Exhibit 845, and if you would mind opening this exhibit up and taking a look. I believe it's on the second page. I'll tell you in a second. So, if you go to the second page, on the last paragraph on the second page, you take a look at that.
Okay.
In that interview, we actually got a little bit different version of how the door hit Mr. Ellis, correct?
I just say that he starts to turn away. That's the only real difference that I'm.
Okay. Well, but you also say, I see a man walking his way up towards the sidewalk. He starts walking towards the cop car, you know what I'm saying, but like, I mean, not all nonchalant, like everything's cool, like he was having a conversation. And as he was turning away from the car, that's when the door flung out,
Yeah.
right? Okay. And you said, you described the door knocking the wind out of it, right?
Which I would assume so, yes.
Okay. And he later went on to say that on the next page, and I'll let you give you a minute there, there's the K on the middle of the page, on page 3.
The 24? Me not hearing anything?
Correct, yeah, line 22 through 24. You described them having a peaceful conversation before the door came out and hit them, right?
By the looks of it.
Okay.
No actual hearing any verbal words or anything.
Okay, so Mr. Ellis actually walked up to the police car and stood there, and they were having a conversation.
No.
Okay, so when did the conversation happen?
With what I'm saying, with back to the over here with the 24, and I'm talking about everyone looked cool and the nonchalant and looked like they were conversating, as in someone got his attention that he was walking in a no ugly demeanor or anything, just like someone got his attention.
So they were having a conversation as he was walking.
That's how it looked, yes.
Okay, but you're changing your testimony at least partially, right? Instead of getting hit by the door as he was walking towards the car, in that interview, as he walked away, he got hit by the door.
He never fully made it to the car. He never fully made it to the car. He never stood shoulder width and everything, eye to eye with the person or nothing. So even if he started walking towards and started turning around, he still was in his attempt of walking towards it when all that happened.
Okay.
So
But was he facing the car or turning away from the car?
he was never fully faced towards the car, so either way, he was.
But in this interview, you said he was turning away, correct?
Going to like turn away? Yeah, sure. Okay.
All right. Just want to clarify.
Okay.
And you're now describing the conversation as something that occurred as Israel was approaching the vehicle.
Yes. But I also couldn't hear them, so.
And we'll get to that. So if you could, let's see, page 5, lines 9 through 12. In that interview, you described the conversation that Mr. Ellis had with police as lasting 45 seconds, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for 45 seconds, he was walking towards the police car and having a conversation with police before he turned and the door swung.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, but that's what you said.
I see that.
Okay, so yes, you said it. You're changing your opinion here now today.
Sure, yeah. 45, okay.
I'm going to steal that exhibit from you and hand you a different one. Exhibit 848. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Lowry, you could switch, flip to page, on the bottom right, it's 95556.
Page 40?
Well, give me 1 second here. I'll get it squared away. That's a difference.
22. Should
Correct, yeah, if you read that last paragraph on page 28.
oh, 28. You said 29. I thought.
I'm sorry, yeah, so bottom of 28 and then on 29.
Mm-hmm.
And in this interview you gave, and this was with the defense, correct?
Yep.
In this interview, you told us that the conversation between police and Mr. Ellis was 5 to 10 seconds, correct?
Okay.
So quite a gap between a walking conversation, 45 seconds, and then 5 to 10, correct?
Yeah, it was all quick. So I mean, obviously 45 seconds doesn't seem quick to 5 and 10. But when I said 45, I said quick as well. So I mean, it's just counting seconds is.
Sounds like your memory of this incident is a bit fuzzy.
No. When I use quick is just how I talk. It's 45 seconds. It was 45 seconds from the time I see him start walking to over here to there. It's anything. It could be 30 seconds. It could have been. It's just when asked the question, it came off the top of my head that way. It's not anything being fuzzy. I remember that. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to switch you back to Exhibit 845.
Go for it.
Now, on direct testimony here, this state and then in cross-examination for Mr. Purser, you testified that your windows were up and your music was on, correct?
When I got to the light, yes.
Okay. And you could, I'm going to have to do the same rigmarole here. You can flip to page 3. Line 27. See that?
Mm-hmm.
And in that interview with Detective Rue, you said, I didn't have nothing playing in my car, and my windows are down. I have kids, my daughter gets hot, so I have my windows rolled down. So in that interview, you said just the opposite of what you told us here today, right?
Yeah. That's what it says.
Now, you also told us here today that you never saw a taser during the incident with Mr. Ellis, correct?
Nope, just heard about the word taser being said.
Okay, right. You flip to page 12 of Exhibit 845. You flip to, or look at line 9.
Mm-hmm.
Did you review that? That's a little different than what you told us here today also.
I noticed he didn't have it pulled when I was, or didn't see it from the distance. Him having to regard with the car, but when we were passing by,
I'm sorry, I can't.
I'm reading it to myself out loud. Sorry.
There's no question.
Right, yeah, that's correct.
Yeah,
You said it's different, right? And he said, yeah.
Okay, so it is different.
Yeah.
Okay, and in that interview,
I don't recall saying this though. It being in hand, no, I do not recall saying it. But
okay,
I
sorry, I'll let you talk. Go ahead.
Let's establish what this is. No one knows what this could be.
yeah, I'm
I
confused.
apologize, Your Honor. So, sir, earlier today you testified that you did not see a taser
No. Yeah, I didn't see one, no.
Okay. But in this interview you gave with Detective Rue, you told him that you did see the taser, correct?
It also says we made eye contact, but I didn't make eye contact with the police officer. What? Okay.
All right.
Yeah, go, yes, sir.
But you understand there was a court reporter present when you...
I told, yeah, that's what I'm saying, okay.
All right, so you're not saying that Detective Rue misstated your words, that...
I'm just trying to, just,
So the court reporter got it right, you just said something different at the time.
Sure, I mean, it wasn't a court reporter present.
I don't know.
Well, it's a typed interview, right? Those are your words.
that's, I'm, yeah, those are my words.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, man.
Now, I'm going to leave you alone on the exhibits a little bit. I'll steal it on that for you.
There.
The night of March 3rd, and Mr. Kurtzer covered a lot of this, but it sounds like it was a chaotic night for you and your family. Fair to say?
Nothing that I couldn't handle.
Okay. All right. So, but you guys have been in a fight, right?
Sure.
Overruled, not by this lawyer.
So you got in a fight with your girlfriend Sarah, right?
She wasn't my girlfriend,
Okay. What was she?
just my kid's mom, co-parenting.
Okay, so you're co-parenting but living together?
Yes.
You weren't in a relationship?
No.
Okay, she was in a relationship with someone else?
Yes.
Okay. All right, but you guys got in a fight.
Okay.
I'm asking, so you
Yes.
get in a fight?
Sure.
Okay, and the fight was the reason that the folks who owned the home asked you to leave, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You weren't expecting to have to leave that night?
Nope.
Okay. And things got loud?
Yeah.
Okay. During the fight?
Yeah.
And you described previously, I'm just going off what you told us in the past, that your kids were upset.
Yes.
All right. Had they been asleep in bed?
They were going to bed. Yes.
All right, so they were getting ready for bed, fight ensues, you guys have to leave, they're upset, they're crying, and they're put in the back of your car, correct?
Yes.
All right, and you mentioned that you've been tired that day, is that fair to say?
I mean, yeah, by the time it was at nighttime, I'm assuming a lot of people would be tired, but yes, me,
You
personally.
were telling us that the reason you got in the fight was because you were tired and you felt that Sarah wasn't giving you enough downtime.
Yeah, I worked graveyards, and I was staying up all the time and not being able to go to sleep and still having to go to work. And yeah, I can totally, yeah, sure. Yeah.
And, fights happen, of course. So you also described that when you pulled out there at the stoplight on 96 and Ainsworth, the kids were still crying, correct?
Okay, yes, I sure.
Okay. And that way you described it is basically that Mr. Ellis is walking, officers in with the door, and then they just jump on it, right?
They just jump on him. It was,
Objection, it mischaracterizes his testimony.
Well, he can correct it if he cares to.
You were correct.
yeah, it goes from one officer on him into another officer on him after. It wasn't just they both just got out and jumped on the dude like no, it's not how it happened.
All right. But you mentioned a number of times that Mr. Ellis never fought back at all, right?
Yes,
And he never kicked or resisted in any way.
not that I saw. No,
Okay. And that essentially there was no movement by Mr. Ellis.
none.
Okay. And you never saw, before the interaction with police, him walking down the street, you never saw anything in his hands, right?
No, I did not.
Saw no donuts, no water, no groceries, nothing.
No, I at the time assumed he was going to the store. Me personally, because he's walking up that way, so I wouldn't think he would have snacks.
Okay. Why did you assume he was going to the store?
Because that's that direction, unless someone could just be walking.
Okay. So you're thinking of the 7-Eleven that's on 96th and the
And he's on the same sidewalk that would lead to the 7-Eleven. It was all me just assuming. I didn't know the guy at the time. I didn't know what he was doing. Nothing. It was just
You just assumed he was going to the store.
going to the store. Yes.
All right. All right. And you actually later heard that he was going to get snacks, but you're quite sure that, or that he, excuse me, sorry. You later heard that he had snacks. He'd already gotten snacks.
didn't see anything in his hands. And if he, I don't know of any other store going down 96 that you would get snacks and then be walking towards the 7-Eleven still. But again, that's just me assuming.
And that's, okay, fair enough. And you described that you pull up, and that you got to the intersection, that was the first time you noticed the police car, right?
Yeah, after I stopped behind Sarah.
Got it. And you were there for about 15 seconds.
How it felt.
Okay. And that was when you saw the interaction with the passenger, police officer, and Mr. Ellis, and then you said the driver jumped out, and that's when the lights went.
No, the driver was still in the car. Lights went yellow. Lights went blue and red. Driver door opens. Driver door closes, and he comes around the front.
Okay. And I just asked you a few questions about whether Mr. Ellis punched or kicked or resisted. You said no. And actually, one of the interviews, you went on to say that you felt when you left that police had the situation under control, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If you felt that they had it under control from the beginning, right? That he just wasn't in any way any type of threat.
And no threat at all. None.
Okay. And then you testified that you yelled at the police, Sarah yelled at you, and then you honked for her to go, basically.
I wouldn't say it's all in an instant like that, but that did happen. Yes, correct.
Okay.
I thought someone honked at me, which no one did. I don't know what I exactly heard at that point, but I didn't honk at Sarah for her to go.
I saw that. I saw that you had told us that you thought somebody honked at you, and then to be fair, you corrected that. Why do you now believe that nobody honked at you?
Because after looking at the video before or after, there's no one behind me. So who would have honked at me? You know, I mean, it's just a visual thing. If there's no one there, then what I heard wasn't there. So.
And so later, I appreciate you bringing up the video. So after you guys get to Sadie's house, that's when you see the video for the first time.
Yes, and I didn't see it until Sarah had already got back from trying to go look at the scene again.
Okay, got it. So she comes back and then you see the video.
Yes, with Sadie
All right.
as
And
well.
At that time, there was only one video, right?
Yeah,
Okay. And at some point later, the one video turned into two videos.
or I thought there was multiple news videos that got sent out, but yeah,
Yeah, no, I'm talking only about Sarah's video. The video footage she
Yeah.
took.
that's what I'm talking about. It went to multiple news things,
Okay.
and
Multiple clips.
clips of it, yeah. So I've watched the full, and I've watched clips of Sarah's video, but not any like other videos. No,
Okay. Did Sarah have it edited by somebody?
not that I know.
Okay. But she could have had it edited in some way.
Like the original video.
Hold on. I don't know what the good faith basis for that is. Sustained.
You said there was originally one video, right?
Yeah.
And then ultimately you saw multiple clips of that video.
Yes.
All right. Leading you to believe that at some level the video had been edited.
Do you think that? Did you think because you saw multiple clips that had been edited or something?
No, because my first intention was to go see if my name was said in the video or not, so I did not know if it was clipped or anything. I thought the full video got released everywhere, to every platform. I didn't know what they did with it.
Now, this incident, you described it as pretty traumatic to witness, fair to say.
Yeah.
And but you never called the police or anything afterward, right?
Nope.
Okay. You never posted anything on Facebook or on social media about what you witnessed.
No, I'm not much of a social media person.
Okay, but you have Facebook. Page.
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
You could have said, "Hey, I saw this horrible thing happen on 96 and Ainsworth."
Yeah.
Okay. And you never told anybody other than Sarah, right?
Nope.
Okay. Just kept it to yourself for several months.
Well, Sadie also knew too, and then 3-4 days later, I didn't just keep it to myself. I did let some people know.
Couple people.
Couple people in a circle, yeah. Didn't want it to seem like I was lying.
Nothing further. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Brenner or Mr. Conrad?
Good morning, Mr. Lowry.
Good morning.
I don't have much for you. So, you've obviously sat up here and described an incident that you witnessed, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I only have just a couple questions about what you witnessed. And my first question is whether you ever saw our client, Officer Timothy Rankin, on scene. And Tim, can you stand up?
No, I didn't.
Okay. So during everything that you've described today, my client was never on scene during any of that.
None of it.
You never even saw his vehicle, his patrol vehicle, pull up. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And the last thing I want to ask you about is kind of this idea of the proximity between Mr. Ellis and the patrol vehicle. And you described kind of him being hit by the door. Do you remember telling us that he never touched the vehicle?
Himself personally.
Okay.
Him reaching out to touch, or him engaging with the vehicle himself, as in touching, but the door swinging out, touching him, then yes, that touched him.
Okay. But in terms of Mr. Ellis, you told us that he was never even able to touch the vehicle with his arm, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So he was far enough away from the vehicle that he was further than an arm's length away.
Correct.
Okay. I don't have anything else. Thank you.
Redirect.
Mr. Lowry, just a couple of questions about timing. When you were watching all of this, moving that exhibit before we get started. Mr. Lowry, actually, I got a quick question for you. You have a hard time sitting still during testimony all morning?
Yeah. I just fidget a lot, so sorry. Apologize.
Just if you could focus on the questions, and we'll try to get you out of here as quickly as we can. You were asked several questions about timing. Both Mr. Arbenz and Mr. Kurtzer asked you questions about 45 seconds, 10 seconds. Did you have a clock out with you when you were watching this occur when Mr. Ellis was on the ground with the two officers?
No, I did not.
Did you go home and write notes about the amount of time it took for those things to happen?
No, I did not.
And in fact, you told the defense when they asked you the question that we, Mr. Kurtzer brought up, you actually told them that you were guesstimating the time,
Correct.
and that was on the length of the video, you were just guesstimating what it was.
Correct.
And all of the timing questions that you answered today, are all of those just estimates and guesstimates for the best of your recollection?
Object, leading.
Sustained.
The timing answers that you gave us today, how would you describe them as far as accuracy and throughout these interviews?
Like I was trying to say earlier, when I used like the word quick and I had 45 seconds about it, quick for me can last from 1 second to 45 seconds to a minute. It's just how I personally talk. So everything when I don't know for sure is going to be a guesstimate with me.
And you were also asked some questions about your interview or contact with the attorney Attorney General's office on March 8th of 2021. Investigator Heitzman, you were shown his report, and I believe Mr. Exhibit number 847. I believe Mr. Kreutzer directed you to a paragraph asking you about you and Sarah. You had talked about it that night and what had happened that night. Do you remember that line of questioning?
Yes.
And you actually told Mr. Heitzman that you did not talk about doing anything. I'm directing his attention to.
Hold on a second. Is this the same site we had before?
It is. And
Then go ahead.
thank you. Keon said that he did not talk about doing anything in regards to what they saw. Can you explain for us what you meant by that?
As in, I didn't take no action. I didn't do anything. Like I didn't call the cops. I didn't initiate conversation. I didn't, I wasn't making it my, I just, even though I was witnessed and saw it, I was trying to by not doing anything, make it further away from me. Like I don't want to deal with it at that time. So that's what I was meaning of not doing anything.
You definitely recall talking to Sarah about what the
Oh.
evidence.
Yes.
And you were asked about Officer Rankin, now Defendant Rankin, by Mr. Conrad. Do you know any of the officers that are seated at the table? Defendants, Burbank, Collins,
I-
Hill?
No, I didn't even know they were sitting there.
Had you ever met them before that night?
No.
And when you talk about who was getting out of the car, passenger and driver, do you know who was the passenger and the driver?
No.
You were also asked a couple of questions about 7-Eleven, the store 7-Eleven.
Mm-hmm.
And you're aware that there's a 7-Eleven that's located on the corner by Pacific and 96?
Yes.
And that's the one that you were referencing.
Yes.
Nothing further at this time, Your Honor.
Mr. Purser?
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's now 12:01. We'll take our noon recess this time. All right, so Jim will be at recess. Do not discuss case among yourselves with anyone else. Do not permit anyone to discuss case with you.